We're going to move on, and we're going to talk about your strategy going into Springfield. You kind of alluded a little bit to this. You know, there's obviously a super minority in Springfield. You know, Democrats are the majority here in the state of Illinois. And the current GOP strategy hasn't been able to stop much of the Democratic agenda, and you know, that's just the nature of the numbers. But what would you differently to actually block or change the legislation in Springfield? What kind of tactics, approach would you bring?
Okay, so we would start with the American people. We need American people to get out and vote. They're the ones who put the lawmakers in office. So right now we're at a 78-40 difference in Springfield. We need to start leveling that out, or we need to either flip it red. Okay, one or the other. Something needs to happen. There needs to be a balance. Okay, and if we have an equal amount of legislation there, it'll be much easier to have a bipartisan ruling and not so much a majority. That majority, it really does deter from bills being passed that could actually benefit the people.
So voter engagement
Absolutely, voter engagement. And another way that the voters can be engaged besides voting is that I have found out, not only from the first time I ran, but also from this time, voters do not have any knowledge, 99% of them, of what a witness slip is. And when they asked me, I explained it the first time, and I'm explaining it this time. That is your voice. That is your voice on approving or opposing a bill that is being introduced to legislation. When they first write up these bills and they're saying, okay, we're putting it on the table, we're going to be discussing this soon. The problem is that majority of the reps right now on both sides of the aisle, nobody's informing the American citizens of what these bills are before they're even spoken about. Once they are written up and introduced, the American people should be told automatically what this bill is and tell them how you go to the government site and you fill out that, you read the bill. Read what it says. Does this benefit you or does it hurt your community? Does it benefit your family or does it hurt your schools? What does this bill do? Are you happy or not happy about it? You need to voice your opinion, because when they go to talk about those bills, they have to open up those witness slips and they have to take into account how the American people feel about it. And I know that we're going to get to some of the bills, and we'll have some examples, but this is one of the things that people, American people, are going, oh, wow, I didn't know I can do that. And I said, absolutely. This is one of the things that I will change. Transparency is one of the most important aspects of having that relationship between being a lawmaker and being able to be that leader. It's not about me. It's about the people. And I can't be a good leader if we're not a team. And being a team means I need to inform you of what is going on. Here's how I need to be your voice. What say you? And they have to tell me how they feel about it. Then I decide how I'm going to vote. But it should be a process, and it's not right now. And that is where the devastation's coming in. But the biggest part is that the American people need to start getting out, and they need to start being proactive, and they need to start getting involved. If you are not involved and you do not engage, then you're not part of the solution. You're part of the problem. And that's pretty much why I'm running, is because I was brought up by a military father that said, don't be part of the problem, be part of the solution. And I've always lived by that. And so that's where we need to go with it, as far as how do we get things to change in Springfield. It needs balance right now. And we need to stop this one side of the aisle, other side of the aisle, because that is not helping people. That is not having the best interests of the people, because you're not coming together. You're keeping us divided by a color or a party. And that, to me, that is the wrong way to approach this.